Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. I wanted to go over some prize picks and player props for the MLB slate tonight for Friday, April 29th. As I said in the prior video when I did the sports betting picks, my week's been pretty hectic in the beginning, but I had some time on Friday, so I wanted to go ahead and run over some of these. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I pulled up Fantasy Cruncher. Anywhere you have where you can go in and look at player stats and player game logs works. For this video, I'm going to use Cruncher. Typically, I use RotoWire or any other avenue you have. I got first inning runs per game off team rankings, and then just my local sports book here. I've got some data we're going to pull out of it. So I've got 6 plays that I like tonight and 3 kind of near plays. So one of the first things I do when looking at player props is I come over here to the Stacker tab, and I'm going to look at these 2 columns over here. The pitcher K9 rate and the team strikeout rate. So I'm going to sort it by K9 rate. So this morning, Boston didn't have a pitcher they were going up against, so it's blank. So let's go right here. So you can see Giolito has the highest K9 rate. Mediocre, anything 20 to 22% is kind of about league average. You want to look 23 and above and then below 20. So looking at this, I love Nestor Cortez. We're going to take a look at him. He's got a monster K9 rate. Pretty decent strikeout rate for the opponent team. And then when I'm looking at Nola and Wood, these are guys I'm probably going to fade. They've got a high K9 rate, but the opponent has a very low, micro low strikeout rate. If you are going to play one of them, I would go over here a little bit further and look at this. So BVP, Nola's got 77 at-bats with a 29% strikeout rate. Wood's only got 33 with an 18%, so I would fade Wood. And if you do have to take one, go ahead and take Nola in that case. And then flipping on down here, you can see players that are in good positions. One of them right here is Savali, Wainwright, and Darvish. And you can see they're facing teams that have a 26, 25, and 26% strikeout rate. So they're in good spots. So they're the guys you could take a look at. And my main focus here is I just want to show you how I start digging in when I'm looking at the sheet. And I wanted to put K9 rates and then team strikeout rates on the other side. Over here you can see these are players who have a really low K9 rate. So Syndergaard was one that shocked me. He was only at 5.8 K9. These other guys are pretty common. Nothing really jumps out of the ordinary. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those. So some of the first ones, let's go ahead and just look at K props. And then I'll work my way down. So Darvish over 6 strikeouts is one that jumped out at me. So when I'm looking on here, Darvish comes down. He's about middle of the road at 8.9 K9 rate. He is throwing at home. Only 40 at-bats, but a good 35% strikeout rate for BVP. So just take it with a grain of salt. But I like the opponent team. I believe it's Pittsburgh. Has a 26% strikeout rate, so that's really good. So then I'm going to come over here and take a look at Darvish, and I just want to see what he's done the last couple of games. So when I pull this up, his strikeouts are right here. So he started off the season, he had 3 against Arizona in 6 innings, which isn't very good. San Francisco was red hot. He only had 2 and got shelled. But then his last 2 games were tough matchups against the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he went 6 innings in each and had 15 combined strikeouts. So his prop today was, I believe it was 6, is 6 on the dot. So since we've got 6, I like him to go over that number with 7, 8 the last 2. So really to lose this, he only has to have 5, and he's going up against a team that's striking out 26% of the time. So I like Darvish to get over. That's one of the plays that I did put on my 5-team card. And then the second one is my favorite pitcher on the slate, which if you watch the other video is Nestor Cortez. He's throwing at home. He has an amazing 14.4 K9 rate this year. Team's mediocre in strikeouts. So we're going to come down here. I was curious. I figured Nestor Cortez was probably going to come in about 7.5, maybe 7. When I saw 5.5, I just thought that was absolutely silly. So that's one that I did jump on. So when we go over here and we take a look at Nestor Cortez, you can see he started off, his first game was against Toronto. He had 5 strikeouts. So he was right there, and that was against a really good team to start the year. But his last 2, he's really getting tuned in. He's got 11.1 innings pitched across these 2 starts. and 8 and 12 strikeouts. So he's put 20 strikeouts up in 11.1 innings. His K9 rate is off the chart. Kansas City's kind of mediocre. They've been struggling. They're really low in our power rankings, so I like Nestor Cortez to cruise over the 5.5. If you have any other wild plays you want to add, Cortez is my favorite. That's one that I would definitely lock in. He's going to be in all my plays. If he only ends up with 5 against Kansas City, then I'm fine. I'll go ahead and eat that. One of the plays while we're talking about K-props that is a near play for me, I wanted to look at was Aaron Sanchez strikeout. So I saw 3. Now, San Francisco has been red hot. They're not striking out that much. And let me find him. Oh, he didn't have enough stats, so he wasn't going to show. So let's go look at him over here. So Aaron Sanchez, he's been plagued with injuries this year. And right now, the Giants are red hot. So Sanchez threw 1 game on the 23rd. He went 4 innings, only had 1 strikeout. Oh, that was also against San Francisco, so that's good. So this is the second time around they're seeing the same pitcher, so that's even better. So they only had 1 strikeout against him last time, so for him to show up again and pop out 4 and kill us, I doubt that's going to happen. I would take under 3 if you want kind of a tier 2 play that I'm looking at. Now I want to look at one that I absolutely love, these first inning runs allowed per game. The easiest thing to do on this is just, if you're taking over, that's a little bit more difficult. You got to dig in. But if you want to go under, just find games with 2 stud pitchers. And the one that jumps out at me, which would be my second favorite play on the slate, and one of my cards I did was Cortez over 5.5 Ks and the Angels White Sox under 0.5 first run innings allowed. Now you can get detailed and go here and look at the MLB. Let me make sure you can see this. Yeah, MLB runs inning per first game and kind of see how everybody ranks. The Angels are really good at scoring first inning runs per game, but they're going up against Giolito, so I'm hoping he can at least shut them out for 1 inning, so to speak. And then you come down here and let's find the White Sox. I believe they were around 21. Yeah, so they're scoring. They've not scored a run in their last 3 games, and they're scoring .33 runs in the first inning on the season. So I'm not really worried about them scoring against Syndergaard. So you're basically saying, hey, Giolito, if he can just get 3 outs in the first inning, this is going to go under. So I love the Angels and White Sox to go under. One of the other things you can do is just go to your local sports book. And so this is one of the books that I use, and it's just a score in the first inning. And just look at the odds. Now, my odds are inflated because this book sucks, but I would typically go to MyBookie or something like that. But you can see, if you find a heavy favorite, like here, Cleveland, Oakland's -150 for no for a run scored, so you can look at putting them if they're available. And let me find the one we got. So that's Dodgers. And a lot of these were tricky because there are 1 good pitcher and 1 crap pitcher. So right here is the one we're going with. So no, so under 0.5 for a run scored in the first inning for the Angels and the White Sox. On my book, it's -155. So we can put this on a normal bet card. So we're getting better odds to go with it on Prize Picks. So that's one that we really do like. And I was looking at hitter fantasy score, hits, walks, total bases. I got a couple total base plays that I plugged in tonight that I want to take a look at. I looked at several of these guys, but one of the guys that jumped out was Acuna. And there was a report that he was absolutely tearing the cover off the ball in his rehab stint. And so I wanted to go take a look. He's only been back for a game. So he was batting first, so I like he's batting leadoff. So he's going to get 4 solid at-bats, possibly 5. And he was only 1 for 5, so not great. But he did steal 2 bases. So I look for him. He's got a good shot against Garrett Richards, who pretty much just sucks, to get over 1.5 total bases tonight. So he's one I took a shot on. And the other one was Goldschmidt. So I went Goldschmidt over 1.5 total bases. And what jumped out at me was the BVP on the cheat sheet. So first I want to show you his recent form. So his recent form here, he's batting 2. But look at all these games. 3 hits, 2 hits, a hit, 2 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, 3 hits. So he's doing really well. 3 singles, 2 singles, a single, 2 singles. If you wanted to do his fantasy score, you could do that as well. But he's very active. And then when we come over here and we look at this St. Louis, Arizona game on the Daily Stacks tab. So we're going to pull it up. And one of the things that we do notice is the BVP versus Bumgarner over here. They've got a monster BVP. They're batting 303 over 208 at-bats, and one of the top guys is Paul Goldschmidt, who's got 71 at-bats against Mad Bum, 24 hits, 3 home runs, and he's batting 338 off of him. So his BVP is good. He's at home. His recent form is good. So I like him to go over 1.5 total bases. So those are the main 6 that I like. My favorite is Cortez over 5.5 Ks, Chicago White Sox, LA Angels, no run first inning, Darvish over 6 Ks, Sanchez under 3 Ks, but I don't have a lot of Sanchez. Some of the other ones that I did look at for possible bets, if you want some additional plays, is Syndergaard over 5 strikeouts. So looking at this one, I was shocked at how low his K9 rate was. And so this is one I'm kind of looking at where I'm possibly considering it. He's got 1, 4, and 6. So he's getting stronger as the season goes on. And then when we come over here and we take a look at our stacker tab, Syndergaard, the team's striking out 24% of the time. So he's in a good spot. I think he could get up over that number. 5 is probably going to be a push. He's got a game over and a game under that, but that's one that I'm definitely considering if I do some multiple cards. Aaron Nola, I wanted to talk about him. So his line is 5.5. So when we're looking at Aaron Nola, 5.5 strikeouts, that's one that kind of jumped out at me, and this is one that I believe I was going to fade. So he's got a very high K9 rate of 10.4, but the opponent's only striking out 18.1% of the time. So these are the things you got to be careful of. He's got a 9, a 4, a 5, and a 7. So he's got over, under, over. So he's got a high K9 rate, but the team is striking out not very often. So that's one I would be careful from and probably fade. And then one of the other ones was Wainwright. I always look at this one. So 4.5 strikeouts. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. It's against Arizona. So let's see where Waino is. So Wainwright is right here. So he's got a K9 rate of 9.4. He's one of the top third on the slate, and he's in a really good spot. So the opponent's striking out 25.3% of the time, so that's really good. And then when we go take a look at his BVP, that was not his BVP, but his recent history, Arizona's been really bad. He only had 3 at Cincinnati, so he didn't do very well. But prior to that, he had 6, 7, and 6. And his number's only 4.5, so you really need 5Ks. So he was over by 1, over by 2, over by 1. So he's getting there. So that's someone else that I would go ahead and consider for tonight. But that's what I got for today. And I kind of wanted to go through and kind of show you some of the things I look at and what I use on the cheat sheet to find some plays. But good luck, guys.